Hello and welcome to the Coaching Crowd podcast with me, Zoe Hawkins, and my friend and co-host Jo Wheatley.
Hi, everyone. Today we are talking to you about how to host a coaching event. We are fresh off the back of a amazing coaching summit. As many of you will know, we host this event once a year, and lots of people said to us, "Can you do an episode on how to host a successful coaching event?" So we're going to break it down for you today, talk about some different options and an end-to-end discussion from making that very first decision to what you do afterwards to be able to build on all of the effort that goes into creating and hosting a coaching event.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think with events, like it's probably worth starting with like what are the different types of event or why run an event actually is probably a good starting point. And if I think back to when we thought about the coaching summit, this was twofold for us. So one was actually about supporting members of our business lounge to increase their visibility. So we'd been on a journey with our own visibility. We knew actually how challenging it can be to think of different ways to let people know you exist because you're only really going to get clients when they know that you exist in the world. And we had this a wonderful community of people inside our business lounge who we wanted to support to raise their business and raise their visibility. And of course, in doing so, we also raise the visibility of our business and services like our business lounge, for example, which doors are open to. And we'll give you more details of that at the end of the podcast. So, events such as summits, masterclasses, in-person events. I'm thinking around what we've done selfishly, like we held a Christmas party, all different kinds of events, anything that you can think of. If you can imagine it and dream it, you can run it, are ways for you to nurture your prospective clients, nurture your current clients, show people to the world what you're about, how you can serve clients, how you can help clients, offering value to your audience. They are ways that you can continue to increase your visibility and make sure that those people who need your services know how to find you and know that you exist.
And also, sometimes the reason is because you just want to do something different. So if you've got like a set, let's say you do one-to-one coaching all of the time and you really love the one-to-one coaching, but you're just starting to sense or get an awareness that there's something new wanting to happen in your business, and maybe you want to test your own skills and abilities out because that relates to your values around growth, or look at your value set and think, is there something here wanting to happen? Zoe and I have talked about running a coaching retreat. We sort of go through phases where we really, really want to do it, and then we don't have any energy to do it, and then we really, really want to do it, and we want to create something amazing, and then we start to layer it and become something else. And our latest idea is to create a retreat for senior level executive women in business, and to bring together some of the content from our other programs, and we're getting excited about that. Now, whether we actually birth that and bring that to the world, we don't yet know, but we really love and enjoy the process of like forming and nurturing ideas in a non-attached way. So anyway, yes, there are lots of different events that you could create as a coach, and also events that you can go to yourself and become part of. And maybe you co-host events with other people. And with the coaching summit, although we're hosting it, we've brought together, a large range of people that can all bring something different and unique and all have their own audiences. And so we're collaborating together. So the very first thing you need to do when you are hosting an event is make a decision that you're going to do it. And then when are you going to do it? What is the date? How much time do you think you're going to need in order to be able to do the preparations and create something brilliant that becomes an asset for you? How does it fit in with the other things that you've got planned into your year? And also, where is that sweet spot where you're going to still be in that level of energy and excitement that you have when you start to create it? And to be honest, I don't know if we ever get that right, so do we? Because we always end up with the like, oh, why did we book it? Why didn't we book it like, another month out? But there is that sweet spot around still having the energy for it. So What else would you add in terms of like the making the decision and the time scale?
I think what helps in making the decision and setting out your timescales is non-attachment. So I have run masterclasses in the past, so events, and I've had, what I consider to be brilliant registrations, 200 people register, 75% attendance, and nobody bought anything that I was offering. And I'm all right with that because I know that those sort of 200 people are interested in what I have to offer. I just need to get the offer right. So I think as you come to the very beginning of your journey around what events you can offer, do not be attached to it needing to generate sales because you will flatten your energy from the outset. Do it with what you genuinely want to do. So you want to add value, you want to meet some of your clients, you want to learn about their needs, you want to be able to serve and make a difference in the world, like reconnect in with purpose and detach from any outcome. And I think practically, when you're looking at timescales, the thing that you said there around Joe is like we always seem to wish we had more time is I think there are sort of some minimum time scales. So you're really looking, depending on what event you're offering. So if you're offering something like a masterclass, or you would have seen our summit or a workshop, a 2 week window to be able to generate registrations, market this to your audience is generally a good period of time to think about. Anything more than that, and people tend to forget that it's in their diary or happening, and anything less than that, and people's diaries are so jam packed that they can't fit anything in. So I think if you have a 2 week window where you are talking actively on social media or in your forums or networks around this event that you're running, that's a really good runway to being able to build excitement and interest for the event and gather registrations. If you're running something like an in-person day where the time commitment that people need is larger, you're going to need to think about the availability that people have to be able to make travel arrangements, maybe sort childcare out, whatever they might need to do to free themselves up to attend. So I would be looking there more around a month, 6 to 8 weeks to be able to give people enough notice. And you need to also think, are you going to do that as a ticketed event? So in person, if you're putting out expense, you might want to charge for that event so that you get people's commitment for doing that. You don't have to if you want to do this as a marketing piece. And then if you're thinking something bigger like a retreat, you'd probably be looking at even more notice there, sometimes even a year if you want a good runway. And you don't necessarily need to be talking about your retreat for the whole year, but you might do an early bird offer a year out. And then as you get closer, you might then increase the price and look at a 6 month and then a 3 month window where you're doing some active campaigns around your retreat. So lots of different ways to be thinking about timescales and practicalities
I think
for those things.
money comes into it as well, because if, for example, you're running a retreat and it's costing thousands of pounds to attend it, then you need to think about payment plans. So, when you think energetically about it, do you want to have received all of the money from the participants before they attend it so that you feel complete? All the money, the admin stuff is sorted out, and you can just genuinely be there in a great energy with those people. So, thinking about that is important too. So, there are also other things to think about, like designing a web page. Are you going to do that? Are you going to get somebody else to do that? Have you got pictures for it? What about the copy? Will you do it? Will you get somebody else to do the copy? Where are you going to share that? What about email automations that go along with registrations? What is the way, how, and what do you want to communicate to people once they've booked up as well? Because you'll need to do that ahead of the event. So you need to be able to think about the whole kind of period of your event and how you're going to want to communicate, even down to things like if you're going to have a lead magnet or sell something off the back of the program. And that could be two different ways. So maybe you're advertising an event and it's out of reach. Let's say if it's ticketed, it's out of reach for some people, or even from a time basis, people can't attend it. Perhaps you then say that, if you're unable to attend this for XYZ reason, but you still want to work with me, here is a way that you can do that. So you're doing what's called a downsell, or you can do an upsell to people that attend the event, that have shown interest in that particular topic or experience, and maybe there's something they can bolt onto it, or there is a natural next kind of pathway option for them to be able to join you on. And you could do that really last minute. We've done that many times because we go with our energy, we're sensing the energy from the audience, what we're hearing that people want, or questions they're asking us, or things that we just feel like, oh, wouldn't it be great to? But we also try and learn from those experiences every time we do it, to think about what do people want and what can we provide and how can we get organized so that just so it's a calmer experience for everybody going through.
I think when people hear the tech, often a panic can set in around, oh my God, that's just too much. Like I'm not equipped to do that. That all sounds like too much of a headache. And I think with these things, just keep it simple. Keep it really, really simple. If this is your first ever event, and you have a relatively small audience, chances are your audience is going to be relatively small. Like if you really wanted to keep it totally simple, you could ask people to email you if they wanted to join your event, and then you could send them a calendar invite. Like it really doesn't have to be complicated. If you want to up that a little bit more and you use Zoom, well, Zoom has its own inbuilt ability to register for an event. So you could literally post that on your social posts. Another layer up from that is, as Joe said, is a landing page. So this is a page on your website which takes registrations, and you can capture people's GDPR, and that can be hooked up to an email service provider that sends them a series of emails. So I would say around the tech, like don't let that stop you. Keep it simple and think about your first event as being the first of many. So as you said, Joe, the more you do, the more you learn. You might add some bells and whistles on with each one that you do. So if you're in a go big or go home mindset, then you may be thinking, do you know what? It's going to be really valuable for me to really get into a sophisticated tech setup and make sure that I am doing this job professionally. So we know somebody at the moment who is organizing a festival, like never done before, thousands of people coming. She's going big and it's really inspiring to see how she's bringing that event together. So, that might be something that you choose to throw yourself into. Perhaps it's a conference or something that you want to organize. So think about what's your vision and what do you have the energy for? And where can you strip out as many obstacles as possible so that you can reach the end goal, which is hosting your event and doing something with it, which I think we'll talk about in a second, as quickly and easily and stress-free as possible.
Yeah. And also, as you say, how do you make it work for you in ways beyond the actual event itself? So can you record the content that you're producing, whether that is a masterclass or a summit or something else, some sections of it? Do you have a YouTube channel that you then might want to post that on? Or do you say to people, if they join your email list, they'll be able to get access to it? And that's a way to kind of grow your email list. So you get to make the decisions about how you use the content. Some people will want slides from it. So are you going to make those available? And if so, have you got your branding on it? Is there any offer in those slides? Where will it be circulated? Will it form part of a program that you're creating and part of a library of resources for that, because it is valuable and it deserves to be out in the world and not just a one-off event that you have? And that's where, like, if you enjoy strategy, I love strategy. I love thinking about different options and ways for people to access stuff. And for me, it's part of developing a conversation with the people that are interested in what we're doing. And then think about how might you get testimonials or recommendations for your event or the thing that you've put on. Will you provide a link to people to be able to do a Google review for you, for example, or a Trustpilot review, or even a link to one of your social media platforms, or ways to that. Also, if somebody provides you with a testimonial or a review, they get exposure too. If they choose to kind of be named and, have some way, maybe they can put their web address. And so it's mutually beneficial. If they've really felt like that was amazing, and I'd happily recommend it to other people. So you can get really creative. You'll have ideas that we haven't had, and we love, coming up with new ways and testing them out and seeing, is that valuable for our audience or not?
You'll also have the opposites. There's the strategy and the forward thinking, and then there's the running the event, and then the, oh my gosh, I wish I had done X, Y, and Z. Like every time we run an event, we always think about the things that we could have done in advance of the event. So, all the in-person days that we've done, we didn't take a videographer with us, which would have been amazing to be able to capture those sorts of things on video. That's just, there's always stuff, but, take those as just learnings. They're the even better ifs. They're the next time we will sort of memories and plans, because as I said before, it's a journey. Your first event is not going to be the same as your 20th event, and you will get to learn and evolve and grow as you do. And if we look at the summit, so that we've just ran, this year was amazing. We saw the great speakers and so many people attend the different sessions. And we've already got ideas for what we would do and tweak differently. And this will be the fourth year on the trot that we've ran it. So it's going to be even bigger and even better. And then the fifth year will be even bigger and even better again, because each time we do this, we learn and we grow. And that gives us the energy to keep going with events like this.
Yeah, and so we're going to put on an emotions coaching summit, essentially, that will be bringing together pioneers in this particular kind of more specialist area of interest of coaching, where we will get to, obviously we're hosting it, we'll also be presenting at it, but we will also be showcasing, different perspectives around emotions coaching. Would we be doing that if we hadn't have run the summit and got the experience and the knowledge that people do want us to do these things? No, we probably wouldn't. But now we're like, yeah, can we do it? Yes, we can. It's something that we're excited about, we're totally aligned to, and we're excited to bring to an audience. And we know that people will want to attend. So obviously we'll share details of that once we have confirmed the finer details. But once it's like popping, isn't it? Once you've started and done one thing, then you start to build that into your plans. And in person versus virtual, they have they have different energies, they require different things. As soon as you start catering, if you're providing lunch or dinner, that's a whole extra level of organization that is required. And I know we've got an episode on building your coaching team. Well, that's where a team can be really helpful so that you can focus, if you're facilitating it, you can focus on your facilitation, how you're going to be doing that, how you're going to ensure that everybody gets some time with you, and you can have somebody else that takes care of the food, the travel, the bookings, and so on, and is a quick point of contact for people. So even if you don't have that team in your business, when you're creating an event, it might be a reason to create an event with somebody else, so you can divide up the responsibilities so the event can run smoothly. And of course, everybody that comes along has a totally different experience of your event too. And we've run events before where we've hosted the event, and we've then carried on because people said, you're going to be around afterwards, and we do. And then sometimes we're like, that was a lot to hold energetically for a whole day. So those are things to think about, even when you want to and you think that would be lovely to do that. Are you going to be able to when you have hosted something for that period of time? So I'd also encourage you to think about, when you're running events, your broader diary. What are you doing the next day? You might want to blank that out so that you can kind of rest and recuperate and let that adrenaline and the dopamine kind of work its way through your system. So because otherwise, if your diary is really blocked as normal straight afterwards, it can take away some of the enjoyment and the sense of achievement that you had from facilitating it. But I think overall, we would say go for it. Like, think about what you could run or host, whatever size, half an hour, a retreat that's 5 days somewhere in a different country. Like, go for it. It massively increases your visibility. It's it's often quite an aspirational thing to do. And just look at your values and think, is this part of the business that I want to design? And is it going to help me to grow my business in the way I want to?
And I think one of the things that's helped us with events is thinking of collaboration over competition. So some people will look at our events and think that doesn't make sense. Like, why are you hosting a summit where you're offering a stage to speakers within your business lounge? How is that serving you? And it serves us because it raises our brand awareness. It raises awareness of coaching in general as an industry. So some people who may have heard this word coaching but don't really know about what it is are able to come to the coaching summit to learn more, and they're now one connection closer to us. Yes, they're also closer to the coaches that are there, but that's great. If that is what that person needed on that day, then it's brilliant that we've been able to facilitate them finding the service and solution that they need. They would have never been our client in the first place. It doesn't really matter. So I think when you think about collaboration, the people that are drawn to you will always be drawn to you. And so they will come into your world. And if the people that you're collaborating with are a closer fit for their needs, then they wouldn't have been your client in the first place. So don't worry about that. But together, you will increase your visibility. And the person who doesn't use your service will go on to their friends, their family, their networks and say, I know just the person. I saw them at a summit recently, or I saw them at a webinar recently. I think you should connect in with them. So it's not always about the people who you're running the event for. It can also be the people who come to that event who know other people who can introduce you to. And so, as we said earlier in the podcast, the doors to our business lounge is open. We talked a little bit about the summit here, and hopefully you were a part of our coaching summit. The business lounge is our community of coaches who are growing and developing their business. Inside the business lounge, you have access to over 40 trainings, all about business development and growth. And when you're a member of the business lounge, you also get the opportunity to speak at our annual coaching summit. So we take applications each year, and we do our best to facilitate a place for everybody at the summit who wants to be a part of the summit. And you can join the business lounge for just £99. And interestingly, on this coaching summit, we had a call just before the summit went live where one of our speakers shared that they just signed a client who'd been sort of lingering around the edges, and they'd signed that client and they believed it was due to the increased visibility that the summit gave them. So for that £99 investment, they've signed a brand new client, which I just think is what the business lounge can offer you in terms of getting yourself confident, prepared, visible, connected to other like-minded people, so that you're going on the journey of business growth together. And you can find that offer at www.igcompany.co.uk/lounge, and it's only open to the end of the month. So don't hang around, come and sign up to the business lounge now.